So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to EAT Health Morning Health Talks. Hello, everyone who is here in the audience. Very nice to see you in person. And of course, those who watch us online, I'm very happy that you joined our event as well. I think my mic is not working. It's working. Okay. So I will introduce why we are here, and I will introduce a little bit about EAT Health Morning Health Talks. Maybe some of you have already participated in our previous events, such kind, or maybe it's the first time for you. So yeah, Morning Health Talks begin as EAT Health Initiative in 2019, and it was created to bring together decision makers, innovators, startups, academia representatives, and healthcare professionals. And the goal was simple but yet ambitious, I would say, is to openly discuss various challenges of the healthcare in the healthcare area. And today we also will be talking about the challenges, but challenges might be turned to the opportunities as well. So while we are working together, we might create something meaningful and practical as well. And in Lithuania, these morning health talks events are coordinated and organized by two organizations, Lithuania Health Science University and Kaunas University of Technology. Today we are here hosting this event. And our first event, usually morning health talks are happening 2 times per year. So our first event this year was organized by LSMU and was organized on June. And this is the second one event. So today we will be focusing on the EU market and the startups entering those market and what kind of challenges startups usually deals. So since launch, Morning Health Talks attracted, I think in the most recent years, events were organized in more than 25 countries, locations, gathering more than 1,000 participants. So the event grow rapidly and in the numbers of events and participants, and of course in important topics. And today's event is designed to give you clear and practical insights into what health tech startups really face when entering EU market. As I said in the beginning, we will be talking about both challenges and opportunities. So through this day, we will be hearing founder stories, learn how to understand EU regulations, which is very important while we are talking about not only healthcare startups, but I think the startups in the broader perspective. As I'm saying usually that startups is all and fun, but when we are starting talking about more serious stuff like regulations, it's becoming more and more complicated. But I think that all the startups, and especially in the healthcare, are dealing with regulations from the different markets if they are planning to scale into global. So we will end our event with the open discussion. You can see empty chairs on my right side, and networking session after our keynote speeches. We will be going for the networking. So use this chance just to meet already known persons or get know the new ones, because I can see familiar faces, of course, and the new ones. So I think it's a good chance to network in the event. And now I think we can start with our first speaker. And our first speaker, we will start from the founder's perspective, a real story of taking a Lithuania health tech startup solution into global market. So please welcome with applauses Mantas Venslauskas, who is the CEO and creator of Bilimed. And Mantas will share his story. So I think that people who are sitting at their computers also are clapping to you. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. So hello again. So yeah, I'm going to share our story, how we do, like how we sell, how we enter markets abroad, like talking from my perspective. Of course, I believe that each approach is different, and but I hope you might find some valuable things, valuable information in my slides, in my story. So first, of course, I have to begin. Probably most of you already know what we are doing, but still, I have to talk about what's like our approach, how where we are focusing at. So, yeah, we are trying to solve at least partially a hand tremor problem, and it's actually I started to focus on this problem. Since like I was writing my PhD thesis, because I had like a kind of personal experience. My grandfather suffered from Parkinson's, and one of my best friends in primary school had essential tremor. So I knew very well how difficult it is to deal with shaky hands. So probably that was the reason why I wanted to create something, because I saw that the market lack of solutions for people with tremors. And of course, it's really difficult to deal with trembling hands. It's basically most of the activities you do during the day, you need your hands, and try to imagine if those hands are shaky all the time, how difficult it is like to do simple things like to use your phone, to eat, to talk with others while others trying to look at your hands. And that enhances level of stress and increases severity of your tremors. So, and market is really huge. Actually, millions of people around the world suffer from this problem, mostly Parkinson's and essential tremor patients. Actually, essential tremor, nobody talks about it, but it's like the most common movement disorder, and prevalence of essential tremor patients is 10 times higher than Parkinson's. So the problem is huge, and that was the reason why we developed this product, Willem Ball. So it's a actually simple device, and you just have, if you have tremors, you have to hold it for 10 minutes in your hand, and after 10 minutes you get a relief for a few hours. And it actually emits vibration, but it's not just a simple vibrating ball. It's actually, while you're doing the therapy, it monitors your tremor and how your tremor respond to different vibrational patterns. And that's how it provides personalized therapy. So that helps people to get a relief, to do all of daily activities much easier than before that. So, and it actually helps for about 70% of those who suffer from tremors. There are some competitors on the market, of course, but funny thing is that probably all of them work in the US, and you can actually in Europe you can find like only few remedies for tremors. So of course it's medicine and deep brain stimulation, focus ultrasound, and basically that's it. There are no devices in Europe at all. And while being in this field, it's not so difficult to understand why there is a lack of solutions in Europe, because it's really difficult to deal with European markets. So how we sell our device? It's basically we use two channels. It's a direct to customer and B2B channel, like through distributors. And yeah, that's the main question today is how to break into global markets. But it sounds like a strong question, but I think the answer is pretty simple. The answer is try to do everything. It's not so easy to do that, of course, but you have to try all of the possible approaches. And of course, your experience might be different, your product might be different, and target group might be different, but until you try everything what's possible, you cannot find the most like efficient way of how to sell your device, of how to reach your customers. That's for sure based on our experience. Right now we are selling our device in more than 40 countries. Of course, in some of them we are selling it actively because we have distributors or we focus our ads like on those markets, while in others we are selling like passively, let's say. they can find information about our device like just on the internet. But I will talk about different approaches that we use, and some of them work very well, some not, but I would recommend you to try everything. So first, what was the idea in the beginning? We know that it's a medical device. So if it's medical device, the best way to find your client, like customer, is through the doctor, to be recommended by the doctor. That works for sure, but it's really, really difficult to find to build a strong network of doctors, and it costs a lot. It takes a lot, actually, and I cannot say that it works very well, like this type of approach, but it works. And the funny thing is that it works in a much better way than not you try to reach out to the doctor, but when the doctor see his patient who is asking about your device. And like in that way, we have right now I don't know, dozens of doctors in the United States who offer William-Ball treatment. They actually have some sample devices. They can provide them for testing purposes, and if customers want, patients want, they can just purchase it on our website. So that works very well. This is Thomas. He works in #1 institution in the United States that provides deep brain stimulation and focused ultrasound surgeries, #1 in the world. So they are leading. That's a Mohammed Ali Parkinson's Clinic at Barrow Neurological Institute. And he said that besides deep brain stimulation and focused ultrasound, William-Ball is the best treatment option. So that's, and he actually complained in a good way that right now he has a problem of new patients coming to him just because of the William-Ball. So nice problems. Yeah, Dieter, we actually started to work with them like once we received CE mark, and he owns Parkinson's Clinic in Austria. And yeah, for sure, that's we actually worked in a more like a classic way. But funny thing was that about 1 year ago, we saw that people started to purchase William-Ball from Austria without no reason, because we are not running ads, anything. Then we started to, we wanted to find out what's happening. And we realized that in one of the most like famous mass media channels, former VN Major did an interview, and he said that he suffered from Parkinson's and he uses William-Ball. And since then, people started to purchase like organically the William-Ball from our website, from Austria, without doing no direct marketing. Some of the doctors use it like in their work. William-Ball, like this thoracic surgeon has dystonia, and she has to use William-Ball before each surgery. So they represent, they speak about our device in conferences, they spread awareness about the William-Ball, and that helps a lot. Of course, you have to talk and work with like the most famous organizations which operate in your field. So that's how we started to work with International Essential Tremor Foundation. And actually, they have, from our perspective, it's really difficult to reach our customers because most of them are elderly people. And not because of that, because they have tremors, it's difficult for them to find something on the internet. Because of trembling hands, they refuse to suffer to look for things on the internet. And those type of organizations and communities help a lot to find, like to reach out to your potential clients, potential customers. So, and it's possible, of course, to talk with them in live events, online events, to do some trainings. And yeah, that's one of examples of a conference in the US where I did, where I talked about the Willem Ball. And some of organizations like this in the United Kingdom just promote all of their remedies among their support groups, among their patients. And once you start become like visible on the internet, once you start selling your device on the internet, of course, our device is more like direct to customer oriented. So this approach is like this happens. Good and bad feedbacks happens on the internet, and you have to deal with it, and you have to pay like really strong attention and communicate in a good manner with any kind of reviews, customers, and that helps a lot actually to increase the sales. Exhibitions, another way to find like distributors, partners. This year we, as a team, as a company, together with our partners, participated in more than 15 exhibitions. Some of them are really useful because you can find like distributors who start to sell your device immediately. Some of them not that effective, but of course that's one of the most like old-fashioned way to find like partners and sell your device abroad. But talking about the distributors, it's you have to understand that it's really different to find distributor and to start work with them when you have medical device and if you want to sell medical device, because of the registrations. All of the registrations, of course, you have to deal about the contract details, about all of the conditions of how they will sell your device and so on and so on. But registrations of medical devices in different countries like takes at least half of a year. That's our experience, or can even take longer. So, like to start working in Norway, it took about I don't know, 8 months. In Australia, about 6 months. In Middle East, year and a half. In Cyprus, of course, it was quite easy and fast, and it took a few months only. But that's an experience. So that's a long and time and money-consuming process. All of the medical device companies want to get reimbursement for their devices. But funny thing is that our device is CE marked medical device, but this device has reimbursement in Australia and the United States. So because it's much easier to get reimbursement in those countries than in Europe, and it costs a lot in Europe. While in Australia, you have to apply for reimbursement, and if you meet all of the criteria and requirements, you can get it like in 3-4 months. In US, of course, we have not like Medicare coverage, but veterans can get it for free, or FSHSA holders. And direct-to-customer channel. Our product is suitable for this type of way to sell medical device. I don't know about others, but if you can, that's the channel where you can take all of the control, and it depends only on you of what kind of results you can get. For sure, that's a really huge difference of the quality of what type of quality you can like. How to say that? Like how to put it? It's like one of example. A few months ago, actually in the second quarter of this year, we decided that we have to move from WooCommerce to Shopify platform, which is like the leading platform for direct-to-customer sales. And we thought that once you start Shopify, everything is perfect, and your like conversion rate increases dramatically, and so on and so on. But that didn't happen, and we had even lower conversion rate in Shopify than we had in WooCommerce. So what we did actually about a month ago, one of the company recommended us to completely rebuild product page, and that helped to increase conversion rate by 80%. So that's simple as that, but once you know how to show everything, how to put all of the buttons in the correct places, and how to communicate on your page about your product, that increases sales dramatically. And of course, the best thing when you are selling your product direct to customers is like real organic testimonials. And all the time when we see like videos on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, of people who started using Willenball, we see the sales increasing at that time. And because people get inspired by like real people, real results, and real customers. So that's one of the example when you see like the tremor difference before and after the treatment. That's one example. There's another actually. It's this lady like Nick. She does those videos. We actually don't pay her anything. She just amazed about her improvement, her condition improvement, and she just do videos without like being asked or anything, being paid for that. So that's pretty amazing actually, and it works much better than any commercial, any ad, and so that's she shows how her tremor looks before the therapy, and simply. So of course not all of the customer have this type of experience, like when tremor disappears, but it still significantly reduces hand tremor for most of the people, and it increases quality of life a lot. And it's a game changer for a lot of people around the world. So yeah, you see like stable hands, not shaking at all. Yeah, another example. So you can see like this lady in Finland started to use Willenball, and you can see like before Willenball, day 2, and you can compare with like day 13, for example. So she filmed herself like each day, and you see how it helps. Yeah, another one, and by saving your time, I want to show this lady. She's actually we were so grateful to get her image because she's 19 years young. She's actually suffered from Parkinson's and tremor for more than 60 years. And when she found out about the Willenball, when she started using it, her life changed dramatically, even at this age. So that's really inspiring, actually. And those type of stories, that's the biggest motivation for our team. And So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mantas. I think that despite what market you will enter, the most important thing would be the customers. And I think that all of us were here inspired by the examples you show. Really, after each example you have shown on the slide, I wanted to give the clap for this because it's really amazing to see such different and such difficult conditions of people health. And now, as I said, we have quite plenty people watching us online. I think it's an even bigger number online than we have here. So those people who are watching us online, you can also raise a hand and give a question or write to the chat. And in the audience, maybe we have questions to Mantas. Yes, we have one question. So just 1 second.
Thank you so much for such a nice and inspiring presentation. I have a question about patents. Maybe you have some patent effects.
About patents, right?
Yeah.
We have bad experience and good experience with patents. So right now, yeah, it's a patent pending, patent pending status, but we had really bad experience a few years ago because our patent was rejected because of the lack of the competence of the company which prepared the patent application. So you have to choose it carefully, actually, because that's an important asset. Not that much important as I thought before, actually, because I think it's a bit overrated thing. It's much more important to keep the trade secret inside your company than disclose everything in a patent. Or it works the best for sure if you combine like a patent and some trade secret inside your company. But yeah, actually, I'm happy that we didn't have an bad experience in a court with some patents. So
Thank you. Very interesting.
Do we have more questions? No, we don't, but we will have the short break. So if Mantas, you will be staying, I think that people will be much braver to come to talk directly with you. So thank you once again. Give a round of applause for Mantas. And now we will have one guest who is not here, but here with us online. And we have the guest speaker from Finland. And we will turn to the topic, as I said in the beginning, which is very important and I would say essential. Every startup has to face is regulations. So our next speaker helps startups understand medical device regulation, in vitro diagnostic regulation, and for example, AI Act and other fancy words. I think all of you know a little bit, but I think we will dig deeper while listening this next speaker. So please welcome with the round of applause our guest speaker and keynote speaker of today, Heikki Pitkänen. I hope I pronounced your surname correctly. He is the CEO of Lean Entries and senior expert in regulation and quality. So Heikki, please join us. Can you hear us and can you see us?
Thank you, Vaida. Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Can you see my slides?
Yeah, we can see everything and clear perfectly. So
Perfect.
The floor is yours.
And thank you for the Willem Bol for the brilliant presentation. I'm glad to be here. It would be nice to be in Kaunas, naturally. And I'm very glad Finland was mentioned. We Finns always celebrate that when anyone remembers us from up north. Lean Entries, as a company, we are part of a larger organization called Orevia. So I'm amongst 80 clinical research and quality and regulatory professionals, which is a nice place to be at. So Lean Entries represents the digital sandbox within that company. And we are in 4 countries. We are in Finland, we're in Sweden, we're in Poland, and in Germany. And now, talking about how to turn the regulations into your competitive advantage, it is not a clinical thing or condition, but innovators very often they shy away from the regulations. I don't know if it's proper to compare it to tremor, but that's what I experience a lot, that they at least are afraid. It's a different thing than tremor naturally. And they don't look into the regulations as early as they should. This is what I'm here talking about, and to explain how you can actually turn them into your competitive advantage. What is the mindset in going forward in the health tech sector? A few words about my background. I've been in this sector since the beginning of the millennia, approximately. I've had regulatory responsibilities first in 3 startups. They weren't called startups at that time, now they are. Team manager in 2 notified bodies and certification body test laboratories for electronic medical devices, the 60601 standard series, and software and usability. And seeing the challenges of startups and innovators in general from both sides of the table, working in startups and then working in notified bodies and certification, I well experienced that this is the struggle I'm talking about is a global phenomenon. So whenever someone filed a technical documentation from China or Brazil or any place of the world or from Europe, we could see the same blunders and difficulties in the filings. So based on that experience, Lean Entries was found already in 2016, and we became a part of Orivia in 2021. Beyond that, I've been involved in standardization in ISO technical committees for medical devices and representing Finland in the advisory board for healthcare standards for CEN and CENELEC, which are the European counterparts for ISO and IEC, and writing books and whatever means possible to make sure that innovators get on top of regulatory and start learning, because this is where you land very, very typically. It is quite rare that your background would be from the medical device sector, where you have amongst your founders people from big medical device manufacturers or even smaller ones. So a lot of innovation happens in universities in just from the top of the head of very typical people of the street, and it's brilliant that they come up with these ideas, but they all face the same challenge. And if you don't have that background, it is more or less likely that you will struggle with the regulatory topic. It is a lot of work. When you know the principles, it becomes less of a burden. Our intention at Lean Entries has been from the beginning to put innovators on a steep learning curve. We tried, just like William just explained, we've also tried everything, every avenue. We thought it would be a SaaS service and learned very quickly that the innovators don't pay attention to regulatory as much as that they would find our services. So now we approach this problem by going through universities, through incubators, through innovation hubs, and European consortiums for, let's say, Horizon funding, etc. They pay the bill, the innovator gets the service free of charge, and it's never a hefty bill. So that has been our way forward, and now we also collaborating with the Finnish Innovation Fund Sitra and the tech industries of Finland, etc. We've recently built tools on the AI Act, Data Act, EHDS regulation, while we previously had tools only on the MDR and IVDR. And let me go through them a little bit. The idea here is to make sure that you have educated decisions regarding regulations from your day one, de-risking your entrepreneurship path, and give you, which is hard to bring into concrete numbers, but our experience is that innovators can save months of time when they know what this is about. Let me just quickly show you maybe the hottest topic of all, the AI Act. This is the AI Act tool where you can take the journey, take the full path, and learn as you go what is an AI system. And if you're not sure if yours is one, you can also take another path to go through the definition of an AI system in a structured format, or you can pull up guidance regarding this specific topic. You can turn on references which shows you where this information and the question originates. We're at Article 2.1 of the AI Act, and this is also linked to take you there. These guidance are pulled from the recitals or the articles, and also the guidelines published by the European Commission, etc. So it all is as good as it comes from the table of the legislator. We've just tore it into its atoms and pieces and built it back into a pathway to experience the regulation in a few minutes, if you like. Of course, there's lots to digest, if you like. Let me jump over the scope in question. And you might be a provider, you might be a deployer. Here with the AI Act, it becomes very critical that you also know what the hospital as a deployer needs to put in place. So you need to go through both paths as a provider to make sure that you are the best in providing services for the deployer. And examples also from those guidance documents if you need them, just everything that is out there. And as an end result, you get a final report. But let me come back to that in a little bit later stage of my presentation. So the idea really is that throughout Europe, we would have a new baseline of knowledge and regulatory literacy to support the competitiveness of Europe. This is the approach. This is what Sitra, the Finnish Innovation Fund, is also pushing, and talking with the AI office and all those fancy offices in Brussels. The idea is not to replace what is already in place in several locations. Like for yourselves, there might be people and advisors and trainings available on regulatory. What we claim is that we bring the ingredient, the spice that makes the learning so easy you cannot get away. And you can then turn to expert services, templates, EQMSs. You need to read it yourself a little as well. You need the training still, but this will also enable the month's worth of savings. What the tech transfer officers say, in principle, enables clarity, forces realism, creates a confident baseline of regulatory knowledge. This is from my home university, Tampere University. What the innovators say, without any prior in-depth regulatory experience, we could get regulatory knowledge for ourselves, and really makes learning so easy you cannot get away. That is the kind of saying we want to hear. But now to the real deal and the learnings I want to share in this event to make sure you at least grasp the principles. And many of you, I'm sure, also do that already. What comes to regulatory is that safety and efficiency also, but I also want to highlight safety is non-negotiable. And therefore, the core of regulatory requirements, while you also want your product to be safe on the market, no incidents, everything going smooth, you don't want to get to the tabloids or news on your device failing. Naturally depends on what type of a product you're pushing out, how big of a risk it contains, etc. But making your that baseline clear for your clients, that your system is safe to use and naturally efficient, is the baseline for your business as well. What the Annex 1 of both MDR and IVDR say is that devices shall achieve the performance intended by the manufacturer. It all revolves around what intended purpose you give to the product, and that they shall be safe and effective. The risks must be outweighed by the benefits. So the benefit risk ratio from your risk management, from your clinical evaluation is in good place. And that can vary a lot between different types of devices. And lots to consider maybe when it goes to very high risk devices. And then taking into account from the safety perspective, the generally acknowledged state of the art, which in principle means that you will need to look at the most used standards, international standards, ISO standards, IEC standards to build the compliance of your product. And keep yourself updated as you go. The blunder many innovators do is that they go through into what I depict here as the medical device life cycle. You start from feasibility, the flexible time frame, then you need to apply certain design controls according to ISO 13485, etc. And then when you launch and you have certified your product, regardless of whether it's Europe or the USA or any other market, then you are also obligated to do some post-market surveillance, and there might be design changes in your product, etc. Too often, innovators start at a very late stage when they should have already documented things very thoroughly. The advice I give you is to start at day one on learning, at least learning the principles, so you know what you are deciding as you move forward. And here it comes. I've condensed these principles into 4+4 early principles, and here are the first 4 ones. And I want to back it up by claiming that regulations and standards, just like any business book you read, maybe the Lean Startup book or whichever you pick in your hands, regulations and standards also contain the decades worth of wisdom of creating safe and sound medical devices. It's a lot to read. It's the dullest book you've ever read, but it's what brings you to the market. If you try to reinvent that wheel and try to reinvent the mechanism of creating a safe product instead of using those standards to your maximum benefit, you will lose that momentum and will lose months of time to the market. The notified body, if it comes to that, for example, or the FDA, they will expect that you have used those international standards. And the good thing is that they really are the same standards across the globe. So when you apply them, I would say that it's approximately 90% or beyond of the work that is very similar across the globe. It's applying the international standards. Each regulation focuses on the safety of products. So you apply those and you are very good to go. And then it's about the 10% or 5% of difference when you then apply to the market. Just like we heard from the last presenter, it's a different mechanism perhaps to go to different markets, but it helps if you have the CE mark or you have the FDA approval, then you use different mechanisms to leverage those markings. But the first 4 principles that I want you to pay attention to, firstly, the intended purpose, just like Annex 1 just told us, that would be the heart of your product on the perspective of regulations. It defines also which regulations apply. So you need to mirror it back from your intended purpose to the MDR or the IVDR, then it's the AI Act. It might be the EHDS regulation if you imply, for example, connectivity to or interoperability to EHR systems and so forth. So that's the baseline for yourselves. Then it's about the device classification, the level of proof required in principle, and the conformity assessment options. Is a notified body required? What level of proof will they look at when they come and audit us or the FDA for the same matter? List of standards, well, naturally regulations too. You need to list them all for yourselves, and that creates the baseline for state-of-the-art safety requirements. Know them beforehand, even if you didn't dive into those at the early stages yet. You need to get them, read in principle the diagrams first, read the annexes maybe first. They talk in a more sensible fashion than the basic text of the standard, perhaps. And then the 4th one is to create yourselves a regulatory strategy. What does your roadmap for market entry look like? And let me just very briefly give you an idea of how this looks in the entries tooling. And this is also serving the purpose of, sorry, I'm actually here, serving the purpose of learning. So this is a tool that is called the Regulatory Journey for a Health Tech Startup, and it produces you a regulatory strategy as you move along, making the choices here. And by the way, whenever you have a need for an entries user manual at the beginning, you have it here, and I will also share a QR code to access some of these tools free of charge. I'll tell you more about that later. So there's a, for example, list of terms here. Whatever comes to MDR and IBDR, all terminology is right here for you. Benefit risk determination as an example. And again, anything from the regulatory sources is completely referenced to the subclause level. So let me take you to this journey. And by the way, the tooling was built together with the Danish Life Science Cluster. It's been on for a few years already. Let's take the most typical topic of today and the simplest topic, software. We could pick both, but let's call it software only. We land on the topic of intended purpose. And here again, the terminology, guidance that is not actually available from the MDCGs or other guidance documents by the Commission, examples that we've put together. What does an intended purpose perhaps look like? Good examples and bad examples. And we hope that the innovator reaches our tool at this point where they only have an initial version of the product and its intended purpose drafted. But we also educate that when you move forward, it will most likely be adjusted by the first findings from the clinical evaluation and risk management and so forth. Then is it an MDR product? Is it an IBDR product? What is it? Then you have the opportunity to jump into another tool that takes you through the qualification and classification of medical devices by MDR and IBDR both. We called it software, so let's say that it's in itself software. Let's skip a very challenging question or complex question and land on the more challenging question actually, where if you know where you're headed, you also know that you are in a specific guidance document, figure 1, step 3, this link takes you there. And you need to be both of these two to be a medical device software. Again, we have provided you every piece of guidance that is available and examples regarding the specific answer, and on you go. And here as an example, this is the definition of a medical device in a multi-choice format. If one of the EU case laws gives an example that if it's a sports good, then it's not a medical device. But if you claim anything like investigation of physiological processes, then it would be a medical device. So if I give this a tick, or if I add more like treatment, monitoring, diagnosis, perhaps, it is a medical device. Let's skip IBDs and I get to the end of my example. It gives you conclusions that are then printed in your final report. This one saying that it's a medical device regulated by the MDR. And so forth. Then you would follow on to classification. You would get an initial list of standards for yourselves and the regulatory strategy. And that's what I would want to say a few words about. It's not only that you should have some, but it's also a requirement. Such a strategy needs to be in place according to the MDR and IBDR. Identification of requirements, qualification, classification need to be there. And then the other points, and I mark with the entries logo what our tool contains, is how we build the regulatory know-how, which market approvals, best play value for other market approvals, etc. And naturally, in the end, how does it really align with other business plans and strategies? Regulatory strategy is just one among the many, and keeping focus on your end goal to make your product sold and needed. Is it really needed? Those are the critical questions. And there's a lot to consider, just like we heard in the last presentation. Before going into the next topic, I will just note that that is not it. But this is it. This is the end report from a regulatory journey tool, final report summarizing your answers. Show this to your local consultant, and they will have a much better idea of where you are at. 8 chapters of regulatory principles. And the remaining piece is your draft regulatory strategy, we didn't ask you all the details. So it's also, again, full of action points where you need to fill in what, for example, is the intended purpose of your product, or refer to a document that states your intended purpose. Then it contains a lot of goodies like an initial list of applicable regulations and standards. And remember, this is just a draft, so you need to amend it most likely. And something very relevant for innovators, task, time, and cost estimates that you want to build upon. And let me take you quickly to a diagram, a Gantt chart, very simple one, on medical device software that gives you an idea of how long potentially and what are the main tasks you are pulling through to get to the CE mark. And now this is a lot talking about the EU regulations, but it's very similar also from the perspective of global regulations. The next early principles, given my time as well to make sure that I get to these points. You have these big tasks to solve, like clinical evaluation, risk management, to answer the Annex 1 of general safety and performance requirements. This would be the heart of the MDR and IVDR. These are the items that you work to prove your case. Device lifecycle. And the fourth item that I want to highlight is supplier evaluation. So starting from clinical evaluation, actually, let me take you to the next slide. Why would you do this and do this first? And why should it be actually a rather simple task? So this is already building towards your compliance, and it perfectly aligns with your business, marketing, and sales needs, because the literature that you go through, and if you, for example, a researcher, comes quite naturally, but you learn from your clinical state of the art, benchmarks, competitive products, substantial equivalent devices. If you look into the FDA sources, this is all basis for your value proposition and sales and marketing, and also a major source for your design inputs and business considerations. So it fully aligns. Risk analysis, this is something that you most likely talk daily with your team, but you might not type them down. So my first advice is that whenever you recognize someone mentioning a risk related to your product, write it on a post-it note, and then later take someone in to expand it into a full-blown risk management system and help you out. And remember to read the standards. They're floated with risks that you need to take into account. Feasibility studies, take advantage of that time when you don't document everything so strictly, the design control phase. And make sure that you do enough feasibility studying to practice also what it then looks like when you put it under those design controls. And understand that the requirements, if you start applying them only later, you might need to redesign a little bit of your product. The most critical thing is that if you go very far in your design and only then take regulations into account, is that you might need to really come back and redesign a lot of that, and that will consume a lot of your resources. Contracts. Make sure that with your suppliers, everyone is capable of fulfilling the requirements. The greatest risk of all, what I've seen, is that both the manufacturer and a critical supplier of a component, material, software are both unaware of the requirements, and they think they have conquered the world and made the best device ever, but then they bump into the regulatory requirements. A few more negative notes to then end up my presentation in more positive ones. Typical reasons for major losses. So be aware, not taking regulations into account. This is everything I've already talked about. False qualification or classification. If it lands on the class 1 instead of class 2A or higher, for example, in Europe, it's a very different approach. And if it went wrong, and we've seen such cases where you need to upgrade, then it's a lot of work. Wrong standards may be chosen. I could tell a lot of examples of those. So be sure that you have the right ones. Too few resources. and this relates to not taking regulations into account. So if you don't know how it turns, you are in a great risk. Changes in intended purpose later on in your process without checking does that affect, for example, the device class or any other things in our compliance. Founder's bias, we all have it. I've had it. We focus on our tech. It's our baby. And we do not make sure that we bundle compliance into our business. Incomplete quality management systems, incomplete technical documentations, shortcomings in clinical evaluations when you don't really take it into creating your marketing material as well. But you try to shy away from clinical investigations. I know it's expensive, but this is what builds your capability of sales as well. And then finally, incomplete filings to the notified body, like we've seen, or the FDA. And this is where, for example, the FDA has the Q-Sub format where you can come and present your case to them. They want to help you. And I hope that format also comes more into place with notified bodies in Europe. As a last thing, on the positive note, an example, Nuna Healthcare that was already years ago sold to Varian, and Varian nowadays is part of Siemens Healthineers. But Nuna, from their early stages onwards, they recognized that risky compliance was something they could not afford. And they also realized that everything they do for the sake of compliance, including collecting clinical data, translates into smart and efficient business and highly valuable marketing material, support for their sales. So when you build your business plan and you build your business model canvases, remember to have the clinical items there. They mostly create cost at the early stages naturally, but the idea is really that when you do it officially and you need to, if you are a medical device, then it comes back in revenue streams. And this is what I promised, the QR code to tap on free of charge onto the AI Act tool, the Data Act tool, and the European Health Data Space regulation tooling. Those are available until the end of March with our current project joint action with the Finnish Innovation Fund, Sitra, and other Nordic partners. And we are happy to talk more. And you will find lots of my insights also from LinkedIn. And it's much about the competitiveness of Europe and creating a foundation of regulatory literacy to make sure that innovators get along. My claim is that there's a lot of failures, too many failures taking place. We could do a lot better. And now the AI and the data and digital space is experiencing the same as we have already done for decades in the medical device space. Thank you for your attention. And I'm happy to take questions if there's an opportunity, but also respect your timeline if you need to move forward.
Thank you, Heikki, for such clear and practical guidance. I think Heikki really deserves the round of applause from the audience.
Thank you. I see your applause. I don't hear them.
And you know, in the beginning of the event, we were giving welcome packs like with the small gifts for the participants. But I think what you have given here was a slightly better gift for everyone who was sitting here in the audience. And I saw a lot of people were taking the QR code photo. So I think that people will connect with you definitely on the LinkedIn or will be using the guidance you already show us. So you show us that regulation might be not the easiest part of every innovation, but hearing for what you said and explain in this way, I think it certainly makes it more approachable. So thank you for that. And as you said, maybe somebody in the audience has questions for Heikki. We don't have raised hands, and
that's okay. We can take them later too, and you can approach me whenever.
Yeah.
needed.
Okay. Thank you, Heikki, for this for your presentation and for your attitude that you are open for discussion in person. So thanks once again, and I hope that the next time we will have you here in Kaunas, because to have you in
Likewise.
Vilnius might be complicated at this moment. Lithuania get this joke. So thank you once again, and I think I wanted to say have a nice weekend, but we have one more day to go. So thank you, Heikki, once again.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
So now we will have the short networking break. We will meet here 11:20. So grab a cup of coffee, chat with others, and those who are watching us online, stretch your legs and grab coffee as well, or water. Stay hydrated. So let's meet 11:20 here. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a refreshing break. And now we will continue with our program. And now we will look closer to Lithuania's health data ecosystem. And by the way, our previous morning health talks, several morning health talks, I think even 4 or 3 morning health talks, were focusing on health data. So I think that it will be nice and smooth continuation of previous events. And now we will hear Victoria Butrimaitė, who is the representative from Innovation Agency Lithuania Biotech Lab, and she will present very intriguing note, Capacity Unlocked, Innovation Agency and Lithuania Health Data Ecosystem. So I think we will hear a lot information about what was done and what are the plans for the future. So Victoria, that stage is yours.
Yes, hello everyone. Yes, so I am Victoria. I'm representing the Innovation Agency Biotech Lab. So what we do in the Biotech Lab, so basically we promote the Lithuanian's life science ecosystem. So we have, of course, competencies, connection of the ecosystem. If you need someone from the ecosystem, just reach us. And of course, fundings, which is also the hot topic in all our events. And that's how we facilitate and enable our ecosystem to grow. So why the Innovation Agency talking about the health data? So, it's of course, it's a global trend, first of all. Lithuania already has assets and unique national data lake ecosystem. And the Innovation Agency sit in the middle of every conversation that we have with the startups, corporates, policymakers, data holders. So we see the full picture of what is possible if this resource will be unlocked. And the potential return with a much bigger than GDP growth, that we have goal to grow our GDP to 5% in the 2030, but it's not about it, only about it. So we're thinking about the better health outcomes, smarter public spending, stronger companies, and more attractive ecosystem for international collaboration as well. So let's talk about data. Yes, there was a lot of events in Morning Health Talks with this topic, but small reminder. So in the 2022, Lithuania adopted the law of the health data reuse and they built the secure remote analysis platform and national health data lake for secondary use. So the pathway is open to the researchers, public institutions, and the private companies. So it also integrates national scale e-health records systems. So you see the millions of diagnoses, millions of the prescriptions, and about 4 million patient records there. So it's also cover about 100% of the population and linked with the socioeconomic information, which is very unique. And it's updated daily and accessed via the state agency, the main entry point. So we have like one-stop shop for that. So here you can see the health data components which are connected to the state data governance platform. So this is like a lot of information there. So now let's talk about the different next. So wide open set. So what we see from the data pilot 1, which also was the topic of the morning health talks, that the access is already there and the legal and technical pathway to the access secondary health data through the national mechanism is existing and is working very, very well. So if you want to access health data, Lithuanian health data, you can just type it in your web engine, research engine. And the first link will link you to the State Data Agency web page where you can find all the information. No secrets at all. Data quality, not perfect, but nationally standardized and continuously improving. And surprise, surprise, the data quality, it also depends on you, how you create your data sets. It's not the data state agency job. Support and training, there's a lot of things going on in that bubble. So when you enter it, you cannot just miss the information that is there. So the institutional support exists from the academia, from the data state agency, from the also Innovation Agency Lithuania. Cost. They are known and predictable, so the pricing is also on that web page, so you can see, and everything is very clear. An example of cases, so we have cases where the startups, private sectors, pharma companies, researchers are using it. So, there's a lot of success stories. But now let's talk about the bottlenecks, and the bottlenecks is usually in the team. So this is very sad for us because we see that the potential is not unlocked yet, but we are working on that. And we want to create and validate data-driven solutions. So that's why we're building capacity in that field. Team competences, we see that the teams have analytics, but they don't have health analytics, which is super, super important because this is a very specific topic. And it's not enough only to have them, from time to time on board. They need to be the part of the company. And you need also regulatory and business understanding at the same team also. So fit for purpose, usually when we get, they said that we want all data, we want any data, please tell us what data we need. But this is like thing that fit for purpose, so right data for the right questions. It should be also there. Sample sizes, team often underestimate how much data is really needed. So you see that we have 4 million patients. I think that you will find your sample size there too. Time and cost, delay and budget overruns usually come from the weak preparation, usually, not from the data platform itself. So, the limitation in time, usually it's in the own, in company, because they need to find the right person to do right things. Yes, of course, there's also regulatory burden on that, but, everything is, I think, solvable. So, bridging health data and business, how we are doing it. So we are doing it with the pilot number 2. So we signed the MOU during the Life Science Baltic event in 2025. And we signed it between Innovation Agency, EAT Health, Novartis, and Health State Agency. And our goal is to increase the use of secondary health data for health innovation in the biotechnology sector. Create a supportive and driven environment that empowers startups to test and validate new health and biotech solutions using Lithuanian data lake and addressing the real-world challenges set by pharmaceutical and biotech companies. So now in this project, we will have challenges from the biotech and from the pharma companies. And we have timeline about the year to do that. So our priority areas, all the 3 are linked under the One Health perspective. So you see that we have the human health, food, and animals and veterinary data also there. So we see the big opportunity in the field of the novel foods and veterinary big data, because the change is coming in that area too, and we want to be the front runners because we now have the link from the veterinary data to data state agency, and we can use it as we use it in the health data. So what is the design? So with the partners, we create a challenge that startup should solve. So startup to startup. So first of all, in one place is the startup which have challenges that we try to solve with another startup competencies. So why the startup is with the mark? Because we don't know how to call it yet, because this is not like usual startup, because it's more service startup. And the teams, the participants will be about 2 and 5 team members, and the competencies should be the data analytics, epidemiology, product management, or more if needed. And the good news that this is international project, so we don't need any, not don't need, but no nationality limit, so the participants could be not Lithuanian. So we also will provide the data also for the international participants. So expected results, a complete data-driven study methodology. Success is considered if the expert board recognizes it's a decision-ready thing and suitable to use in reimbursement, clinical guidelines, safety protocols, investment decision process. And another part of the success will be if that startup, which will solve, get the also investment or create a startup, if it's a team. So it also will be success for us, or they could be the vendors of the pharmaceutical company for these solutions. And the broader ecosystem benefit is all involved participants working in a sandbox setting, so gain methodological, regulatory, and data analysis experience, which stays in the sector and strengthens it. So we are not talking about only, provided services of analytics. We want to grow our talents here with the new competences. And also the take-home message that every data point counts. So we all generate data. And every health record, prescription, adverse event report adds value and help make better and informed decisions in your health. So please do that if you can, if you're able to do that. Also, our goal is to build a culture where data is treated as a shared infrastructure, not private property. And the confidentiality should protect people, not block the data use. With the state agency as a secure, neutral, and traceable platform, data can use to make outcome, funding, reimbursement, and safety decision more transparent, not less. So sorry, no data bottlenecks here, and only unlocked capacity of the health innovation. And if you are interested, please write to us, and we will try to help you if you have a challenge as a startup, or if a pharmaceutical company or biotech company, or also food or veterinary. So we will get in touch and help you to reach your goals together. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. And of course, questions. Do you have any? No, we don't have any questions. So thank you for presentation. I think that in the future, when you launch the program, the questions will come directly to you. So thanks you. Okay. So January, after the Christmas, be prepared. Okay, so now we will switch to Lithuanian. Dabar mes persijungiame į lietuvių kalbą. Iš tikrųjų, mūsų auditorijoje visi yra lietuviai ir planavome turėjome svečią iš Suomijos, bet dabar persijungiame į lietuvių kalbą ir dabar turėsime diskusiją, kurią moderuos ir kurią mikrofoną nori atiduoti Mindaugui Bulotai, Nacionalinio inovacijų ir verslo centro vadovui, kuris ir moderuos diskusiją ir atim šitą darbą iš manęs pristatyti diskusijos dalyvius. Arba gal kitaip sakyti, pasidalinsiu darbais. Tai Mindaugai.
The floor is mine. Ačiū. Gal aš tenai pereisiu, tai aš pakviesiu iš karto į mūsų diskusiją dalyvius. Tai pirmas dalyvis Izabelė Čepurnaitė. Izabelė, prašom. Ir dėkoju. Ir paskaitysiu aprašymą. Izabelė yra iš Pulseto. Pulseto tai Lietuvoje gimęs health tech startuolis. Prašom prisėsti. Kuriantis neinvazinį klajoklio nervo stimuliatorių, kurį mačiau, kad turėjai, bet tikriausiai daugelis žino, kas tai yra. Šis prietaisas padeda mažinti stresą, gerinti miegą, padeda balansuoti nervų sistemą ir jisai taip pat apima ir softinę dalį, ne tik patį device'ą. Gal kai kas ir matė, kad rykliuose dalyvavo founderiai, gavo mano, jei atmintis nemeluoja, už 1% gavo 400 000, tai kas reiškia jau 40 milijonų vertinimą ir tai jau buvo ganėtinai senai, tai aš tikiu, kad vertinimas didesnis. Tai su Izabelė pašnekėsim apie Pulseto kelionę. Kitas mūsų dalyvis diskusijos Neringa Valantinė, Leidžians startuolis. Labą dieną, prašom. Lietuvos sveikatos technologijų kitas startuolis, kuriantis dirbtinio intelekto pagrindų veikiančią programinę įrangą širdies echoskopijai. Jų produktas Ligence Heart automatiškai analizuoja ultragarso vaizdus, padeda kardiologams gauti tikslius matavimus, ataskaitas ir visaip kitaip pataria ir padeda gydytojams. Neringa galės daugiau praplėsti, aš daug neskaitysiu viso aprašo. Ir mūsų, kaip sakant, last but not the least, Gytis Junevičius iš Lietuvos inovacijų centro, žmogus inovacija, dirbantis su visais įmanomais projektais, todėl jo, jį iš tikrųjų jisai Wikipedia yra, galima pasiskaityti, jis tiesiog žmogus dirbantis anksčiau su inovacijom, negu inovacijos sužinojo pačios apie save. Tai Gytis, jisai yra tiesiog guru. Tai va, jeigu leisit, aš atsisėsiu irgi. Ir mes pradėsim, turim pusvalandį diskusiją, neilga, įsitraukit, jeigu turit kažkokį klausimą, tai pabandykim padaryti dinamiškai. Šiandien girdėjom daug apie, iš tikrųjų, du dalykai, ką aš išgirdau šiandien. Pacientas ir reguliavimas. Ir reguliavimas trukdo priartėti prie paciento. Aišku, tai yra paciento naudai dėl saugumo ir visiems suprantamų dalykų. Bet aš norėčiau gal pradėti nuo Izabelės ir paklausti, koks buvo Pulseto kelias, nes kiek aš seku, tai pakankamai greitai iš tikrųjų visa ta kreivė kilo ir kokioje dabar iš tikrųjų stadijoje yra, ar galbūt rengiamas atnaujinimas ir panašiai, bet koks buvo tas kelias, kaip reguliavimas padėjo ar trukdė įeiti į rinką ir kokie buvo galbūt kertiniai sprendimai šitame kelyje.
Gerai veikia mikrofonas. Tai iš tikrųjų, teisingai sakote, labai greitai įėjome ir greitai augome kasmet. Iš tikrųjų, dabar irgi turėjome rekordinį mėnesį ir kaip tik pertraukos metu atsidariau co-founderio LinkedIną, kuris įkėlė, kad Black Friday metu per vieną dieną mes gal generavome apie 1 milijoną eurų. Tai tikrai įspūdingi skaičiai, žinant, kad 4 metų įmonė. Bet tokie irgi kertiniai dalykai, tai turbūt įvardinčiau keletą. Pats pirmasis tai dar įmonės pačioj pradžioj, kai idėją pristatėme Indiegogo platformoje ir per 24 valandas pasiekėme tikslą. Tai galbūt buvo toksai parodymas, kad vis dėlto mūsų idėja ir sprendimas yra reikalingas rinkai ir tai labai daug suteikia motyvacijos ir pasitikėjimo pačiai komandai kurti toliau vystyti produktą. Žinoma, tada ES finansavimai padėjo iš prototipo pereiti į gilesnius tyrimus, bet toks kertinis lūžis, kur, sakyčiau, paskatino įmonės tą didesnį šuolį ir augimą, tai buvo Skillwolf investicija, kuri atvėrė duris į kitas rinkas, į kitus segmentus, tokius kaip karinis segmentas, aukšto streso pojūčių profesijos. Tai va būtent šios galbūt investicijos dėka mūsų žinomumas labai iškilo ir padidėjo. Taip pat atsirado daugiau naujų verslo partnerių.
O tai pats dabar prietaisas, tai ar tai yra medical device, ar tai yra medical, ar tai yra wellness sprendimas?
Tai kaip tik šiandien irgi keletą žmonių aptarėm šitą dalyką, tai Pulseto yra wellness prietaisas, mes nesame medical device ir viešai skelbėme visose tinkluose, visoje komunikacijoje, kad nesame medicinis prietaisas, vengiame visų tų medicininių terminų, kad niekas nesupainiotų, nes kaip ir šiau pristatymuose girdėjome, yra labai griežtos reguliavimo taisyklės ir negalima, jeigu pavartosi ne tą žodį, greitai gali būti išmestas iš rinkos, tai labai saugomės, labai skleidžiam žinią, kad Pulseto vis dėlto yra skirtas bendros sveikatos gerinimui, o ne kažkokių diagnozuotų problemų gydymą. Aišku, kaip ir klausti, yra kokių ateičiai planų, tai tikrai yra ateičiai planų išleisti naują prietaisą būtent medical device, kuris jau bus skirtas padėti diagnozuotam nerimui, nemigai, stresui, migrenai taip pačiai. Tai ties čia dirbam, bet kaip žinome, tapimas medical device yra ganėtinai ilgas ir sunkus procesas.
O tada pažiūrint iš Amerikos ir Europos rinkos, nes tai wellness device, tu lankščiau gali ir komunikuoti, matyti, ir marketingas ir taip toliau. Tai gal iš kitos pusės klausant, pavyzdžiui, kaip reaguoja rinka, pirkėjai, nes mano irgi žiniomis galbūt pasenę vis dėlto Amerika yra didžiausia rinka produkto pirkėjai ir kaip Europoje sutinkamas tas produktas. Ar jūs iš viso Europoje gal nesikoncentruojat?
Iš tikrųjų, puikus klausimas man, nes aš kaip tik dirbu su pardavimu šitą vietoje. Tai nuo pat pirmų metų mes labiausiai akcentavomės į Ameriką, apie gal 90-80 mūsų produkcijos būtent ten ir keliauja. Amerika, kaip mes visi žinome, tai yra didelio pirkimo ir vartojimo kultūrą turinti šalis. Tai tenais ir šiek tiek reguliavimai yra silpnesni, galbūt tai pasakyčiau, kad gal nesilpnesni, atsiprašau, gal netaip išsireiškia toje vietoje, kitokie, taip. Ir labai stipri yra biohackerių kultūra, dėl ko žmonės perka įvairias inovacijas susijusias su jų sveikata ir jų sveikatos gerinimu. Tuo metu Europoje, kas taip pat mums yra beproto svarbi šalis, atsiprašau, regionas mūsų pirkimanis, tai jis yra šiek tiek ilgesnių procesų turintis regionas, kadangi kiekviena šalis kalba skirtingomis kalbomis, vyrauja skirtingos valiutos tam tikrose vietose, tai užtrunka ilgiau laiko ateiti ir pažinti kiekvieną šalį, prisitaikyti prie jų būtent sveikatos principų ir kultūros nusistovėjusios, tai iš tikrųjų yra žymiai ilgesnis ir sunkesnis procesas Europoje.
Aš dabar prie neringos noriu pereiti. Jūs turite FDA approval ir tai yra medical device. Kaip ir kiek žinau, irgi pirmieji žingsniai tai Europoje. Ar jūs jau turit klientų JAF ir kaip galėtum palyginti, kokia ta patirtis su JAF ir Europą?
JAV klientų dar neturime, FDA patvirtinimas tik gautas, bet jeigu truputėlį palygint procesą, kur čia lengviau ar kur sudėtingiau, tai tikrai esu ne iš vienų girdėjus, kad FDA gauti nesudėtinga. Čia viskas aišku, visas pathway pateikė dokumentus ir gavai, bet vat Europos Sąjungoje gauti CE ženklą, kad yra labai sudėtinga. Esu taip girdėjus mūsų atveju, nežinau kodėl, bet kažkodėl buvo atvirkščiai. Europinis tas reguliacinis patvirtinimas atėjo lengviau, na, o tas amerikietiškas tikrai užtruko ir buvo ilgas, duobėtas ir čia nesibaigiantis procesas.
Tai kokie buvo tie pagrindiniai iššūkiai, nes visi žinome apie dirbtinio intelekto aktą ir taip toliau. Kokios čia patirtis?
Pagrindiniai iššūkiai labai gerą apžvalgą padarė prieš tai prezentacijoje, tai tikrai nemažai žingsnių ir kiekvienam iš jų reikia skirti dėmesio, bet tai mes, gal sakyčiau, gana ilgai užtrukom rengiantis visus dokumentus, adaptuojant savo kokybės valdymo sistemą, kad išpildytume tų standartų, kurie mums aktualūs reikalavimus.
Prezentacija buvo gera, atitiko.
Labai gera, taip. Čia, žodžiu, padarėm tą dalyką, ček. Ir labai didelis iššūkis irgi buvo klinikinių tyrimų suplanavimas, nes, na, tu turi teikdamas paraišką FDA, turi pateikti įrodymus, kad tavo produktas, kurį tu nori į tą rinką pateikti, yra, na, saugus, efektyvus, taip kaip tu deklaruoji. Tai čia buvo irgi didelis iššūkis ir vat Viktorija darė pristatymą apie duomenis, na, tai kad iki to iš viso ateiti, tai irgi duomenų turėjimas ir jų panaudojimas stiprinti, gerinti mūsų produktą, algoritmus tobulinti, na, irgi nemažas iššūkis buvo.
Tai užtenka tų duomenų?
Na, vis dar ieškom po truputėlį, nes atrodo galimybių yra daug. Bet kaip kreipiesi kažkokį duomenų banką ar kažkur, na, tu ateini su labai specifiniu poreikiu. Tai vat, ką Viktorija irgi akcentavo, reikia labai aiškiai tiksliai žinoti, ko tu ieškai ir kokiam tikslui. Ir jau kai pradedi eiti gilyn, o čia kažkam irgi per pertraukėlę pasakau, kad, nu, yra dabar marketplace, ne, nu, 5 milijonai visokių duomenų, didžiulis marketplace'as, ateik čia kaip kažkokia mešopė, susidedi varneles, įsidedi krepšelį, nusiperki. Bet tu kai pradėjai ieškoti, kad tau reikia širdies echokardiografijos tyrimo, ten kažkokių dar specifinių reikalavimų, tai tas pasiūla tų duomenų labai labai sumažėja. Ir dar jeigu tu keli kažkokius kokybinius reikalavimus, nes, na, specifiškai kažko ieškai,
Tai tikrai surasti duomenis tinkamus ir dar, aišku, ir biudžetas ne paskutiniai vietoj, tai yra nemažas iššūkis.
Čia kaip bibliotekoje, kai knygos atrodo daug knygų,
Taip,
o kai reikia
taip.
surasti, sudėtinga.
Taip.
Gytė, tu, kadangi esi žmogus inovacija, dirbi su europiniais projektais, vietiniais projektais, klasteriais, įvairiausio formato inovacijų kūrimas. Kokia tavo patirtis bendrai gal ES fone, jeigu pasižiūrėsim, ar ES rinka ir reguliavimas tikriausiai ir gal požiūris pasirengę Meteko, Biotech inovacijoms, sprendimams, ar tai toksai daugiau atsitiktinis kelias, kaip tos inovacijos Europoje gimsta ir įvedamos į rinką?
Pirmiausia, laba diena.
Labas.
Malonu tarp merginų sėdžiu. Kaip tik prieš pusantro mėnesio Briuselį dalyvavau su Europos komisija, bendravom apie Metecho ir Wellnesso visų įrengimų sertifikavimus, reguliavimus ir visus kitus dalykus. Ir buvo iš jaunų įmonių toksai klausimas, ar palengvės mums kažkas artimiausių laiku, ar numesi tų reikalavimų truputį mažiau ir galėsim į rinką įeiti greičiau. Jie dabar skaičiavimą tokį pateikė, kad per 9 mėnesius gali iš tikrųjų suvaikščioti visi popieriai ir viskas tvarkoj. Jie pateikinėjo tokį, visos įmonės ir visi jauni sakė, kad tai neįmanoma yra, jeigu tai ne į kažkokius sudėtingesnius sprendimus. Tai nežinau, kiek tiesos, tik tai sakau, perdodu informaciją, kurią pačiam teko girdėti ir to diskusijų dalyvauti. Tai reguliavimų arba kažkokių palengvinimų nebus artimiausiu metu, bet turbūt vienas pagrindinių dalykų, kad Europos reguliavimas dar yra vienas reguliavimas, bet dar kiekviena šalis ant to pasideda savo. Ir kai reikia tau įeiti į skirtingas rinkas, ką ir išnekėjo Europoje, tu turi ne tik su kultūriniais principais susidurti, bet dar turi ir vartojimo principais visai kitokiais susidurti ir dar reguliavimais. Tai įmonė sako, mums yra patogiau, bent jau aš nekėjau su įmonėm, kurios yra Vokietijos, Danijos, Italijos, Prancūzijos, jos sako, mums yra daug lengviau įeiti ir tikrinti save kaip Azijos šalyse pasižiūrėti, nes ten iš viso yra konkurencinis absoliutus valgymas bet kokios technologinės būsenos iš tikrųjų, be įrengimo būdo dar kažko. Ir paskui sekantis yra Amerika ir tik tada europiečiai eina į Europą. Sako, Europa mums yra paskutinis, nes tai yra ilgiausias procesas, sunkiausiai įeiti, sunkiausi pardavimai yra. Aišku, kai tu praeini tuos pirmis etapus, tai paskui jau yra tavo pelningumas ir pinigai visai kitokio lygmens, bet tuos pirmus etapus, kai tau reikia iš tikrųjų apyvartinių, kai tu turi išsukti kapitalą ir visą, tai renkasi visai kitas rinkas ir Europoje jie nežiūri. Bent tos stipriosios kompanijos, jaunosios, kurios kuria, nes daugelis žinom, kad daugelis tų, kurie kuria, bent aš susidūriau su tuo, kad tos, kurios kuria kažkokius įrengimus ir kur daro investicijas, tai jos yra dažnu atveju kažkokie spin-offai atsiskyrę nuo arba korporacijų, arba nuo universitetų, arba institutų kažkokių, tai bent jau mano tokia patirtis.
O tai iš tavo patirties žiūrint, kurioje vietoje dažniausiai nutrūksta tas vystimas, ar vis dėlto reguliavimas suvalgo visus resursus ir nesugeba įrodyti, kad yra saugu ar daro poveikį technologijai X, ar vis dėlto technologija yra irgi vis dėlto nemažiau svarbi ir bevystant produktą vis tiek. Ir mes esame universitete, technologijos universitete, tai vis dėlto ar ta technologija svarbi, ar reikia daugiau resursų į technologiją investuoti, ar, kaip Heikis sakė, iškart nuo day one startuoti ir mąstyti apie reguliavimą ir kreipti resursus. Atsakymas ir taip čia negalioja.
Čia kompleksinis iš tikrųjų. Aš taip pasakysiu, tada kitaip. Ir vienas, turbūt kur nutrūksta, mes kai tik ten irgi išnekėjom, ten workshopą turėjom, tai išnekėjom su tom įmonėm. Tai pagrindinis dalykas, kur nutrūksta viskas, tai per ilgas laikotarpis daėjimo iki galutinio rezultato. Ir dažnu atveju, jeigu neturi už nugaros investuotojo, tai nutrūksta kažkurioje vietoje, nes tiesiog pasibaigia resursai, jėgos ir visi kiti dalykai. Technologija yra svarbu, bet nėra pirmoje vietoje. Tai turbūt pirmas dalykas, svarbiausias yra matymas, ką tu nori padaryti ir kada tu įeisi į rinką ir kada tau pradės pinigai grįžti su optimistiniu variantu ir tada numeti 90% optimistinį, tada lieka realistinis ir tada pesimistinis tai yra 3%, ne? Tai va to tavo sėkmės viso reito. Tai va, kai tai susiskaičiuoji iš dalies, paskui jau gali pradėti kažką daryti, bet technologija tai nėra pirmoje vietoje, bent jau visi pripažino, kad technologija nėra svarbiausias įėjimas į rinką. Tai yra svarbiausia tai pasiskaičiuoti laikotarpį, nes dažniausiai numirštama yra nedavedant iki pabaigos, nes tu turi labai gerą technologiją, labai gerai atrodo viską sukūrėjai, bet problema yra išeiti į rinką ir parodyti save ir atiduoti ir gauti gražą kažkokią. Ir va toj vietoje dažnu atveju numirštama su labai gerom idėjom, su labai gerom technologijom. Kai mes sakom, juokėmės tenai, kad gerų technologijų ir idėjų pilni stalčiai, bet niekas jų netidaro. Tai va čia problema.
Neranda rakto. Jo,
Galiu papildyti jo. Buvo pasakyta taip, kad tam patvirtinimui gauti, reikia įsivertinti laiką, bet gali dar papildomai laiko reikėti, tarkim, notifikuotų įstaigų tų užimtumas ir tempas, kaip jie dirba. Tai jau tu įvalioji ten viską suruošti, patikiai, bet jų atsakymas, dabar turėjom čia ne per seniausią auditą, planuojam atlikti keitimą, jums pateiksim dokumentus, kaip greit jūs peržiūrėsit ir pateiksit mums palaiminimą, kad galim judėti toliau. Visaip, kažkaip, jų irgi, jie perkrauti.
It depends.
Taip, tai tu negali čia jau tiksliai vertinti, mėnesių skaičiausiam, tarkim, neįvardijo. Tai vienas dalykas ir dar antras dalykas, reguliacija keičiasi ir tai gali sukelti kartais papildomų iššūkių, ko tu neįvertinai. Tarkim, mūsų atveju buvo irgi ruošiam dokumentus FDA ir 24, nežinau, pabaigoje kažkada JAV BAM įkalė papildomą reikalavimą, kad reikia gal 13 ar kiek ten papildomai dokumentų parengti susijusių su information security. Ir viskas, tu turi stabdyti viską, vėl iš naujo peržiūrėti ten tai kartą savo dokumentus ir pasirengti dar papildomai dokumentų, nes be jų tu tiesiog nepateiksi. Tai dar atsiranda nenumatytų visokių aplinkybių.
Rizikų valdymas, kaip sakė Heikis.
Mažinti tą procentą.
Prisiminiau vieną dalyką, iš tikrųjų dabar pradėjau šnekėti neringai, prisiminiau, kad Europoje dabar kuriamas yra ir, kiek žinau, galutiniai stadijoje yra bendras reguliavimų pasikeitimų paketas, kur tu gali į vieną duombazę įeiti ir matyti visus pasikeitimus per paskutinį laikotarpį ir kokie planuojami išeiti arba kokie pateikti yra svarstymai. Tai tas duombazė ta jau yra, kiek žinau, sukurta, dabar žiūri atitikmenis dar į valstybių kiekvienus individualius įtraukti, kaip valstybėse tai ten atsiranda problemos, bet šitą sukūrė ir jie galvoja, kad bent šitas kažkiek palengvins, kaip pasikeitimai vyksta, netgi proceso metu jau pasikeitimai vyksta ir jie negali atiduoti galutinio sertifikato, tai jau čia problema, matau. Bet sprendžiama, kiek girdėjau.
Izabelė, tu dirbi su verslo klientais, tai vis dėlto, šnekant apie tą Europą, tai koks yra planas, koks yra pulseto, ar jūs turite išsikėlę tikslus, kad pardavimai nebūtų mažesni negu Amerikoje, ar jūs kažkokią kitą strategiją naudojat ir kaip nuo to reguliavimo nepabėgsim, ar tas reguliavimas stabdo jūsų planus, galbūt padeda?
Tai iš tikrųjų neturime kažkaip įsikėlę, bent jau kaip mūsų skyrius, tikslų atskirai Europai nuo Amerikos. Keliavom visiškai lygiai grečiai šitoje vietoje. Galbūt vienintelis Europai, kuo skiriasi, kad mes neatsisakome ir ieškome partnerių, kurie galėtų apimti tam tikrą šalį. Vienas partneris, kaip šiuo metu, tarkime, turime Lietuvos partnerius, kurie apima visą Pabaltį. Ir tada mums šiek tiek palengvėja darbas, nes atrodo nebereikia prižiūrėti 10-20 įmonių, vienoje šalyje užtenka prižiūrėti vieną, kaip sakoma, prižiūrėti ir padėti. O dėl tų reguliavimų labiau žiūrime, kai susisiekia su mumis įmonės arba mes susisiekėm su jomis, mes klausime, ko trūksta, galbūt kokių, jeigu netitinkame kokių standartų, kokių dokumentų jums reikia pateikti daugiau, tai iš tikrųjų kaip tik daugumai dabar yra geriau, kad net nesame medicinis prietaisas, mažiau reikia importuojantis ar kokių kitų dokumentų pildyti, o kitose šalyse kaip tik susidurėm su būtent šitą problemą, kad nesame medicinis prietaisas, nes tam tikrose regionuose pulseto jau būtų priskaitomas kaip medicininis prietaisas, o kadangi neturime šitų sertifikatų, negalime net pardavinėti tose šalyse. Tai toks irgi yra didelis miksas, kur viena yra gerai, kita yra blogai.
Tai kitoje diskusijoje galėsim palyginti, kokia patirtis kaip wellness, palyginant su medical device. Mūsų laikas senka, tai tiesiog pabaigai gal dar, aš vis tiek prie to reguliavimo, esame Europoje vis dėlto, tai gal neringa, jūsų yra vis tiek dirbtinio intelekto, kaip čia pagrystas sprendinys, tai kaip tas AI Act, ar jisai padeda, ar mes jį supratom iš įmonių perspektyvos žiūrint, ar mes žinom, kaip jį naudoti, ar dar mokomės, ar tai vis dėlto, kaip vieni sako, užkerta kelią inovacijom. Europos komisija sako, labai padeda jas vystyti. Tai kokia patirtis, o gal kaip matai, kokia vizija?
Mes dar aiškinamės. Mūsų kokybės ir regulatory komanda, vat, kaip tik dabar žiūri, yra kažkokie, ateina dirbtinio intelekto aktas, FDA kažkokie pakeitimai, dar kažkoks ten susijęs dokumentas, tai žodžiu atliekama tokia sisteminė analizė ir bus numatyti žingsniai, kaip mes tą atliepiam ir įgyvendinam. Bet ar padėjo, ar pasunkino gyvenimą, kol kas negaliu atsakyti.
Tai dar žvėris nepažįstamas. Gyti, kaip tu manai, kaip su dirbtinio intelekto aktu, ar padės galiausiai, gal padeda, ar priešingai, kokia tavo patirtis?
Neturiu patirties, realiai, tai pasakysiu, bet aš manau, kad reguliavimas visada turi būti kažkoksai, nes palaidoj baloj žinom, kad bet kas gali nutikti. Tai turi būti, ar jisai turi būti perteklinis, tai aišku ne, jis turi būti reguliavimas, o ne stabdymas. Tai vienas dalykas, o kad ES turi perteklinį reguliavimą visame kame, tai čia jau faktas ir visam pasaulyje apie tai šneka. Tai turbūt kas bus, tai dabar galim tik pažiūrėti, nes kaip tik kinta viskas ir matysim kitais metais.
Ką mokam, tą mokam reguliuoti. Mano žiniomis laikas baigėsi. Ne? Taip, ir ten, kur jisai yra. Tai ačiū labai, dėkoju dalyviam. Dar klausimų, gal jo, aš pamiršau klausimų. O, man tai, Irmin, duokit mikrofoną. Tai transliacija nesigirdi.
Neringos, norėjau paklausti dėl FDA ir AI-us dalykų visų. Ar pas jūs AI-us figuruoja kaip ten esminis sprendimą priimantis įrankis, toksai AI-us modeliai FDA, iš FDA sertifikavimo perspektyvos?
Jis padeda. Galutinį sprendimą priema gydytojas, ne dirbtinis intelektas.
Dar tada klausimas, o kodėl jums FDA reikėjo klinikinių studijų, jeigu jūs 510K keliu ėjot?
Reikėjo, nežinau, mūsų reguliacinė komanda pasakė, kad reikia ir taip mes atlikom nemažą studiją JAV. Ir JAV tų studijų atlikimas, aišku, irgi 100 000 kainos, tai brangu, imlų laikui, bet to pačiu irgi sutikė labai gerų įžvalgų, kaip ateityje formuoti, kurti dizainą tų būsimų klinikinių studijų, bet gal dar irgi galima pasakyti apie JAV, kad ne visą laiką tos studijos reikalauja tam tikro biudžeto. Jeigu randi, nežinau, mokslinių tyrimų centrą su mokslininkais, kurie dirba ir universitete, ir ligoniai, kartais pagrindinis lemiamas veiksnys yra bendro intereso atradimas. Tai yra tai, ką tu darai, gali padėti jiems siekti jiems aktualių mokslinių tikslų ir tas irgi yra tikrai ne paskutinį vietą.
Ačiū.
Ačiū labai. Dar gal kas nors prisiminė kokį, ne? Tai ačiū labai. Perdodam grindis Vaidai. Grindis tavo.
Ačiū už diskusiją, dar nepabėgit. Mes dar norėtume mažas tokias dovanėlės padovanoti, kadangi tai yra Morning Health Talks ir rytas dažniausiai siejasi su kavos gerimu, tai yra gražus kavos padeliai jūsų rytams. Tai ačiū labai už diskusiją, ačiū Mindaugai už moderavimą diskusijos, buvo tikrai įdomu išgirsti iš praktinės pusės, kaipgi sekasi startuoliams. O visiems kitiems norėčiau pasakyti, irgi galbūt dar nepabėkite, dar turim irgi kavos, kuri yra neatsiejamas ryto atributas. Nors mums jau sako, kad operatorius akivaizdžiai netiesiogiai, kad gal jau skirstikitės, bet dar kviečiu visus susiburti, pasikalbėti ir tiesiog pabūti. Tai ačiū labai susirinkusiems, ačiū tiems, kas mus stebėjo online. Kaip ir sakiau, jų buvo tikrai nemažiau, galbūt net ir daugiau negu čia auditorijoje. Ačiū, kad prisijungėte ir visiems noriu pasakyti, kad šito renginio įrašas bus patalpintas mht.lt puslapyje, tai galėsite pasidalinti, pasižiūrėti ir jeigu kas reikalinga, dar atsisukti. Tai ačiū labai, ačiū panelinės diskusijos dalyviams, moderatoriui ir jums visiems.